Hey y'all, my name is Alia Diani and I am a genealogist. And what I want to share is this document from the U.S. Census Bureau. This includes ethnicity across decades started in 1790 to 2010. And if you can see the colors in blue, that is where the Black American classifications are. And so throughout this time period, our names have changed. We have been reclassified over and over and over again. I'm also going to share another image that I created listing out all the names we've been called over this time span. And one thing that I really want to point out is started in 1790, if we were truly all African, why didn't it say African instead of slaves? Because we were not the only slaves. Any person of any race could have been a slave. So we need to also keep in mind that slave is not synonymous, does not equal black. Okay? Also, I want to emphasize that we have to relearn history. We have been taught by our colonizers. So, of course, they're going to feed us a certain story to make us feel like we are less than. Or if we only come from slavery, everything else after looks like progress, when in actuality, we own more land. We were more financially successful when we were in our own towns, doing our own things, having full sovereignty. Okay, so give me 1 second. Let me show the other image so you can see how throughout the time frames our names have changed. I also include that link in all of my genealogy reports because we have to put information in context. We cannot look at history through a 21st century 2025 lens. So anyway, here is the list. As you can see, our names have changed. If you look at like the 1890s, you can see that it was black, mulatto, quadroon, octoroon. And then in 10 years later, a decade later, it was black, Negro, of Negro descent, and mulatto. Why didn't it say of African descent? Right? So we have to pay attention to these names. And if you look at from 2000 to 2010, that is where the introduction of African American was created on the census. Even though that term was created, in the 80s by Jesse Jackson and a few other people, it was not fully accepted on the U.S. Census until the last couple decades. So we have to think about that. Why? Also, let's run it back. From 1790 to 1840, you also see free colored persons. This means that all melanated people were not enslaved. Like I said earlier, I talked about the word slave earlier in this video. This is why I brought that up as well. And I want us to remember that multiple things can be true at the same time. Every Black American does not have the same origin story, and we need to accept that. That's why learning about your genealogy is so important. I also want to emphasize that these are the names that were used on the U.S. Census. We may have called ourselves other things. Other explorers, when they came to this landmass, may have called us something else as well. So we have to be mindful that this is the U.S. government document. And this is another point for us to reclassify ourselves. What do we want to call ourselves? Because all these names have been given to us. We need to take back our power and take back our identity and our ethnicity. We are an ethnic group. We are here, and this is our homeland. Another point that I want to make that is not associated necessarily with this is that this is our homeland. We have been here for centuries at this point, and generations and generations and generations. We are so far removed from Africa. Well, many of us, I can't say all of us, again, depending on your genealogy. Many of us are so far removed that we cannot pinpoint an African on our family tree. So when they say you don't have culture, when people say you don't know where you come from the United States. You come from this landmass. Even before it was called the United States, you have been here. I want to emphasize that you have been here. You have been here. You have been here. Now let's take back our land and our power. Peace.